All right, number 20. In triangle ABC, the measure of angle B is 90 degrees. BC equal to 16 and AC equal to 20. Triangle DEF is similar to triangle ABC, where vertices D, E, and F correspond to vertices A, B, and C, respectively. And each side of triangle DEF is 1/3 of the length of the corresponding side of triangle ABC. What is the value of sine F? Okay, so we want to figure out the sine of angle F is the trigonometry. Okay, so but first let's go ahead and draw this out. Okay, so whenever we have a geometry or trigonometry question like this, we don't have the picture. I always draw out the picture first. So we know we have a right angle, angle B is 90 degrees. So let's just say if we have something like this, okay, so we have a triangle. Oops. Okay, let's just say this is the triangle there. And then this is that. And then we can have this is angle B, this is A and C. All right, BC is 16, AC is 20, like that. Okay. Yeah, so this, let's just say this is our right triangle. And then we have DEF. Triangle DEF is another triangle and is similar to triangle ABC. So we know if you have similar triangle, then they pretty much have the same shape. Okay, so it's the same shape, but then it's actually smaller. Each side is 1/3 of the triangle ABC. So we'll just draw it right here. So each side is a little bit shorter. Okay, but the overall shape had to be the same. So they have all the angle measure had to be equal. All the corresponding sides should have the same ratio. And this here, the ratio is 1/3. Okay, so we DEF like that. Okay. So we know the ratio is 1/3, so we could solve for these sides. Okay, but there will be like a fraction. Okay, if you multiply by 1/3, we could solve for it. But for this question, what we want is we want to figure out the sine of angle F. So the sine of angle F is right there. So now let's talk about the definitions. Okay, so the sine function, remember we have 3 trigonometric functions. We have the sine function, there is a cosine function, and there's a tangent function. Okay, so for a sine function, the definition, sine theta is the angle. Definition for sine function is always the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, remember trigonometry, they give us the ratio of 2 sides in the right triangle. Okay, so for sine function, it's always the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, cosine theta, cosine is the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, and tangent is the opposite side divided by the adjacent. Okay, opposite side divided by the adjacent side. Okay, so there's a mnemonic for this to help us remember is SOHCAHTOA, right? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and then tangent is opposite or adjacent. Okay, so for this question, we're trying to find the sine function. So it's opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay, so we're looking for a sine of F. So the opposite side will be DE, and the hypotenuse will be what? Will be the longest side, right? Hypotenuse, the longest side will be DF. Okay, so it should be DE over DF. That should give us the answer, the ratio of side DE over DF. Okay. We could try to multiply by 1/3 and actually solve for D and solve for DF and all that. But then we can also recognize since they are similar triangle, so all the corresponding sides should be proportional. Okay, and since trigonometry only deals with the ratio of the sides, it actually doesn't matter how big or small the triangle is. Okay, so to find the sine of F, what we can also do is we can actually just use angle C. Okay, because angle F and angle C, they go together, they're corresponding angles. So all the trig ratios should be the same as well. So you can just look at angle C instead. That would be a little bit easier. So we don't have to worry about the 1/3. Okay, we don't have to work with all the fractions, all that. Okay, so we can just say sine of angle F should equal to the sine of angle C because they're similar triangles. And we know sine of angle C is opposite or adjacent, right? Opposite is AB because that's right across from angle C. That's the opposite side. Okay, right across from the angle. And then, so opposite or hypotenuse. Okay, hypotenuse is 20. That's always the longest side of the triangle. So in this case, 20 is the hypotenuse. So it's opposite or hypotenuse. And we already know that hypotenuse is 20. So, but we do have to figure out what the opposite side is. Right now, we don't have that. Okay, so to solve for the opposite side, recognize we have ABC, triangle ABC is a right triangle. We can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the missing side. Okay, and that's a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. Okay, a and b are the two shorter legs, so that would be, let's just say that's, so we can say 16 as our a value, a squared, plus b squared, we don't know, we're trying to solve that. And c is always the hypotenuse, so it'll be 20 squared like that. Okay, so to multiply this out, 16 times 16 should be 256 plus b squared equal to 20 squared is 400. And then we subtract b squared should equal to 400 minus 256 is 144. And to solve for b, we take the square root. Okay, so b equal to 12. Okay, so this unfortunately is the non-calculator section. We do have to, if we need to write things out and multiply and things like that, we have to be able to be comfortable with the multiplication and that. And we can recognize square root 144 is a perfect square, so b equal to 12. Okay, so this side here, AB should be 12 like that. Okay, if you also remember, there's for Pythagorean triple, there is a common triplet that's like 3, 4, 5, right? Okay, 3 squared plus 4 squared equal to 5 squared. So you see here, 12, 16, and 20, that's actually a multiple of 3, 4, 5. Okay, 12, 16, 20. So that's 3, 4, and 5 multiplied by 4, each of them. So if you recognize that, that will save us a little bit of time as well. Okay, so we know that size there should be 12. Okay, so the opposite side is 12, so this will give us 12 or 20. And we can reduce a fraction. That should be divide by 4 on the top and the bottom. We should get 3/5. Okay, and that will be our final answer. So you can either put 3/5 or in decimal, this will be 0.6. So either one should work for number 20. Okay, so make sure we know the definitions there, and we can apply that to be able to solve a trigonometry question like this.